Okay, so how do you add an event listener in JavaScript?
Okay, so event listener is a way to listen for specific actions, just like for clicks and elements of a web page. So basically, we can add an event listener by using a method which is called the add event listener method on an element, and we can specify the types of event we want to listen for, and we can actually use the functions to run when event happens. So this lets our web page react to user actions. So this is how we can actually add the event listener.
Okay. So, okay, so what is event delegation and how can it be implemented?
Uh, okay, event delegation. Okay, so event delegation in JavaScript involves adding a single event listener to a parent element in order to manage the events for multiple child elements. So, okay, so by actually using the add event listener method on a parent and checking the event target, we can handle the events for children. We can actually handle the event for children also. And it will also reducing the need for multiple listeners. So this is how it can be implemented. And
So, why might you use remove event listener?
okay, so we can use the remove event listener in order to stop the listening to an event on a web page element. And
Mhm.
basically, this is useful when we no longer want to need to perform an action in order to respond to an event. So which can actually help to make us our web page faster and use less memory. Yes. So this is all.
What are template literals in JavaScript?
Okay, so template vectors in JavaScript these are basically a way to create the strings that can actually include the variables and expressions inside them. Okay, so basically they make it easier to build strings without having to use a lot of plus signs for joining the piece of together. And we can actually write them by using the backticks instead of quotes. So yeah,
Okay.
this is the template.
Okay. Uh, so how do template literals enhance the capabilities of strings?
Okay, so the template returns basically enhance the capability of strings by by allowing uh, actually the template returns enhance the capability of strings is actually by it will allow us to embed the variables and expression directly within them. So actually this means that we can dynamically constructed strings without the concatenation by using the plus sign. So basically, they are support multiple line strings without needing the special new line character, and it will also make our code cleaner and easier to read. So this is how the template results enhance the capabilities.
Okay, so moving ahead, can you please uh, discuss about arrays or map method?
Okay, so array.map method in JavaScript is actually transforms an array by actually applying a functions to each item, and it will create a new
Okay.
item. It will create a new array with the same results. Okay, so it's actually useful for converting the data formats, and it's also useful for doing calculation on each element.
Mhm.
Okay, so from objects within an array and without actually changing the original array. So this is the array topic.
Okay. Okay. So how does map differ from for each method?
So basically, the map method differs from for each method. In the map, in basically the map method, so it will returns a new array.
Mhm.
It will actually result. It will return actually a new array. It will consist of transform elements, and it will making. It will actually good for the data transformations without modifying the original array. And when we talk about the for each method, so it's basically simply executes a function on each item in an array without creating a new array or without
Okay.
actually creating a returning a value. So yeah, this is the main difference. The map difference from each.
Uh, and what is a type of operator used for in JavaScript?
So the type of operator in JavaScript is basically used to determine the type of variables, or
Mm,
it's actually used for variable also value. So it helps us to
okay.
find out if something is a number, or it will be a strings, functions, objects, or
Mhm,
on another type. So this can be actually useful when we need to check the data types before performing an operation on a value.
mhm.
So in order to avoid errors in our code. So this is the type of operator used in JavaScript.
Okay. And how does type of behave with null?
Okay, so the type of operators behaves usually with null in JavaScript. So it will returns an object actually. So this is a long-standing bugs in the language. So as null is not actually an object, so it means that it means to represent the absence of a value. So actually, these behaviors can be misleading if we are not aware of it. So yeah, this is how the type of operators behave.
So how would you choose between local storage and session storage?
Local storage and session storage. Okay. So basically the local storage and session storage both allow us to store data in user browser, and and in order to choose the local storage and
Okay,
session
so
storage.
first tell me what's the difference between local and session storage?
Okay. So
Mm,
the main difference actually uh, 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 between the local storage and session storage is that local storage keeps data until it's explicitly cleared. Okay.
okay,
So, and when we're talking about the session storage, so it will remove data as soon as the browser tab is closed. So I think this is the main difference between the local storage and session storage. So this makes actually session
and how would
storage
you
more.
choose between local storage and session storage? Sorry, like what are the main differences in their lifetime and scope?
Main difference in the lifetime scope. Okay, so basically the local storage keeps data until we decide until we need to remove it. Okay, so it's
Mhm.
available even after closing and reopening the browser. Okay, so basically the
Yeah.
session storage keeps data only while the browser tab is open, and it gets deleted when we close the tab. Okay, so basically the both types can only be accessed by websites from the same domain. So this is the, I think, the main difference in the
Oh,
types.
okay, okay, okay. But so now come to my main question, like how would you choose between local storage and session storage?
Okay, so basically the local storage, in order to choose the local storage and session storage, so uh, in local storage, so if we want to save the data for long term, even after closing the tabs like user setting and use session storage, I think it's great for temporary data that should be disappear when we close the browser tab. So just like the information on a form we are filling out. Okay, so choosing
Okay.
based on how long we need the data actually. So this is the main
Mhm.
reason in order to choose the between local storage, session storage.
Uh, okay. So, mm, uh, what are arrow functions in JavaScript?
Arrow functions in JavaScript. Okay, so basically the arrow functions are a good way to write the functions in JavaScript. So
Okay.
it will use an arrow symbol. So and are good for keeping the functions connected to where it was created. So this actually helps especially when we are working with the parts of our program that handle events or asynchronous operations. So this is the arrow
Okay.
functions in JavaScript.
Okay. So, how do they differ from traditional function expressions?
Okay, so basically the arrow functions differ from traditional functions expressions, mainly in the syntax and behavior. And
Mm.
they have a shorter syntax, so by actually using the arrow instead of the function keyword. And they also don't have their own this method. So it means that they inherit it from surrounding scopes. So it's not like just traditional functions which have their own scope, own their which have their own this context. So this is the main difference between the traditional functions.
And what are the limitations of using arrow functions?
Okay, so when we talk about the limitations, so uh, basically, I think the limitation is that it's not have their own this context, which was complicated used with method that need a distinct context. Okay, so they also lack their own arguments, objects, and can be used cannot be used as a constructor and don't have a prototype property. So I think this is the main limitations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'll be asking some output-based question. Okay.
Okay.
I'll paste code snippets in this chat box here, in this chat box, and you need to copy and paste in your editor. Okay.
Okay.
And also you have to share your screen and you have to tell the correct output.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Please share screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just sharing. I pasted in the chat box. Yes.
Okay. So here it will actually the console log. So the value of the console log x will be 20, I think. Because
How?
yeah, because where because the where variable is not a block scope. So here, if we redeclare the var x is equal to 20, it means that it, it will updated the x value. So I think, yeah, it's not have a block scope. So I think this is the main reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Moving ahead. So I pasted one more. So please also tell the output for that.
Yes, so I think the first when we console log this one, it will the output will be first it will be 20 and then followed by the 10.
Okay.
I think. First it will be 20 and it will be 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now tell me the third one, sir. I just pasted the third one as well. Third step.
I think the value or the console of the output will be undefined.
Hmm?
Undefined, sure. The
Okay.
output will
How?
be undefined.
Okay. Okay. How?
Because of the hosting, because X variable is hosted at the top of the
Uh-huh.
continuous step. So it
Hmm.
will be actually console log before defining the X. So it will be
Okay.
undefined.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now give the output of the fourth one. I get one also.
I have not received the. I've not received the fourth one. Yeah, this one.
Four. Yeah.
Eh, I think the output will be 10, I think.
And now,
Because it's a var variable, so it's not a block scope. So if first we define the var x equals to 10, and then here
no.
for
We are first printing the console.log x, then we are assigning the where x is equal to 10.
no, I'll just give you the explanation of how it will be the var x equals to 10. How the output will be 10.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
if
what will it return?
so it will return actually the 10. Output will be 10 because it's a variables and it's not a block scope. So it will update the value of x when we declare it.
Okay.
So it will actually the for loop. So after the
Okay.
loop,
Now,
like
yeah, got it.
yeah,
Now give the fifth one answer.
this one.
Mhm.
So I think the console log will be 10. I think the output will be 10.
Oh,
Because when we call so inside the outer functions, so there's a in block scope there is a variable x equals to 10, and inside the outer functions there is another functions inner, so which will return the x value. So and under the outer function there is a return value inner. So when we call this function outer function, so actually it will return the inner functions. So and under the inner functions, it will return the value of x. So because it's a var variables and it does not have a block scope, so it will update. We can actually access the x variable. So
okay.
that I think that's why we can actually print the x equals to 10.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I think it's done from my side. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.